All right, so good morning, everyone. Mercy, this should be afternoon where you are already. Yeah,
Yes, afternoon
afternoon for
for me.
this way too. I'm the only morning guy here. Also. All right, so thank you for taking this call. Yeah, so let's get down to it. We already know and we've been hearing, seeing all the excitement about AI. It's not like AI started this year or last year, but somehow it just blew up. And in a way, the insurance industry, they tend to be the last guys to catch up to the new technology rave somehow. But this time, I don't think it's going to be like that because in Africa, we already have like multitudes of insurtech springing up, which we feel and believe it's going to help these insurance guys to catch up onto technology as fast as possible. And that's why we're here. Thank you, Mercy. And thank you, Sizwe, for joining us. So let's take a moment to introduce ourselves. Let's start with you, Mercy. Tell us about yourself, share a bit about your background, your journey in the insurance industry. Also, you can go ahead to tell us how the adoption of AI has impacted your sector, like your company as an insurance company. What challenges do you see insurance professionals commonly faced in the integration of this? Because most times we are not the producer, we are the consumer. So what kind of challenge do you see insurance professionals like yourself commonly faced in the integration of AI into their operations?
Okay, thank you so much, Sam. My name is Mercy Musonda Chola from Onelife Assurance in Zambia. I have been in the insurance space for close to 6 years now. I have worked for two companies in Zambia, one of which is Sanlam Life Insurance, and I'm currently working for Onelife Assurance Zambia. My current role is that of Chief Commercial Officer. I am in charge of developing strategies spanning across business acquisition, retention, customer experience, as well as growth. I think for the past 3 years, we've consistently grown as a business at an average of 60% per annum. AI is fairly a new concept for insurance companies in Zambia.
Mhm.
We see a lot of advances around the AI space in the general insurance space. Interesting to note, here in Zambia, general insurance and life insurance sit on two different licenses. So no one insurance company owns both general and life. So for the general insurance side, we see a lot of advances around AI as opposed to the life insurance space, which is where I work. So I see that AI integration for life insurance companies is really at its infancy uh, as an industry-wide adoption process. And more so for my business that I'm working for, I think this is when we are now in the process of seeing what is it that we can do in the AI space. But we already see the advantages that it can bring to our business, including cost reduction and efficiencies to our business. The key challenges, some that I see in the AI space, especially for my business, is that we seem to have rigid systems where interoperability is a very big challenge. I may not be able to plug in today into a system that is AI enabled because the system that I may be using sometimes is not developed or was not developed with a thought of this kind of technology coming across. And so if you want to change, it's a robust change that entails that you change both the internal core systems that you're using as well as the outward systems that you're using to process claims and interface with the clients that you're servicing in the various healthcare providers. That being the case, we see that the other challenge that may arise is where you have backlogs. Um, Claims sitting on the provider's floor sometimes, some of them sitting with ourselves that are not yet in the system, and so making the switch a little bit harder and longer. Although we realize that there are players in the system that can help us to sort of pick up the slack, push in as many claims as possible from the manual system that we're using, and start using the artificial intelligence in its focus. So, in brief, that is a brief background of the industry I play in and where AI is sitting currently, especially in the life insurance space.
Thank you very much, Mercy. That's good, and it's amazing. Before now, one of the issue we keep having is when we talk to health insurance professionals, the HMOs, we tend not to be talking to the healthcare providers. So, but in this
Yeah.
case, we have the health insurance represented by Mercy and the initial tech guys, the technology guy by Cizwe. So I'll move the mic next to Sizwe. Yeah, so Sizwe, like a little bit of background. Mercy has talked about the interoperability, deficiency, and how do you think insurance companies like that, where Mercy is from One Life can be positioned so that both partnership between the insurance and the insurtech can flow together to eliminate this deficiency and friction in the consumption of this kind of technology, especially AI.
Cool. Thanks, Samson, and thanks, Mercy, for the very informative answer there. So, just a brief introduction. My name is Susan Clove. The Chief Technology Officer currently at Pineapple. We're an insurance provider here based in Johannesburg, South Africa, providing short-term insurance, so all risk, which is basically any random items you may have that are portable to move around with, most of them at least, and then car insurance, so insuring your vehicle or anything of the like. So yeah, I think some very relative points, points that are related to that Mercy has shared. I think with technology is kind of updating every day, and I think the thing with insurance, I know I can speak particularly in South Africa, is a lot of these insurance companies, they've been here for many years, so given that, I mean, the technology stacks are like years old, like 50 plus years old, or whenever, kind of like digital technology kind of became a thing. It's kind of where they started picking up. And obviously, keeping up to date with that, over time is not necessarily the easiest thing, especially when you've built something which at a point in time was working. I mean, why would you want to try and fix something that's not broken? It's like, you don't need to really reinvent the wheel from their point of view. But now with a lot of these innovations that are coming out, as Mercy mentioned, it's kind of tough to integrate with, these so-called legacy systems that are kind of out there. And you need to kind of find a way to kind of make that happen. So I know at Pineapple, look, we're a much newer company. We started building our technology like 6 years ago, went live with it 5 years ago. So we're relatively quite new into the industry. So we had that advantage of being able to, build things with the future in mind with new technology as well. However, we have been working, with the Old Mutual Insure Group, our partners who have been very supportive with us throughout this process, integrating into, their systems and kind of helping us to provide, insurance products to the market. So obviously themselves, I mean, they've been around for like 175 years. Well, at least the Old Mutual Group. And obviously their technology is, they started with much earlier technology than us, but, we've kind of found a way to make it work. We found a way to kind of implement that middle layer and, just on top of that, use these innovations that are coming out in the industry, such as what we're about to talk about right now, AI, to kind of leverage off that to kind of plug it into your more legacy systems. And I know sometimes it's really not that easy, especially with large established organizations where you have, systems that already work. Why would you want to come in and kind of do something else unless the proven market potential is there to integrate something new like AI. And I think one of the other things that Mercia kind of mentioned to me before we started this call was the legislation. I know that could also definitely be like an inhibitor barrier. I mean, AI is something new into the financial services. You bring AI into insurance, there's a whole lot of things that need to then be asked around it. Because there's so much potential for it. But then it then becomes a thing of, okay, so if you're integrating AI, who's buying the policy? Uh, is it an LLM, or is it, some sort of model that's, kind of performing the action, and then what does that mean, when you get to claim stage, there's so many things that still need to kind of be ironed out, and I think with AI, like AI has been around for a long time, but I think what's kind of picking up legs now is generative AI, and that's really, as long as you see a lot of practical application towards that across industries, and of course, there's a lot of potential within the insurance industry and the financial services as a whole. But then once again, because it's new, you need to kind of think about the legislation around it. Who is doing what? Is it allowed? Is it okay if a robot is, performing certain actions that normally legislation accounts for a human to do? So there's a lot of those type of things that really need to kind of be fleshed out and ironed out when it comes to things like AI and the use of it in the industry. So yeah, I think that's a lot of we're gonna unpack a lot of that obviously in this webinar. But yeah, I think that's definitely a lot of things that we need to think about.
That's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you very much, Sizwe, for that. So our next question will be now, Mercy at Onelife. Have you guys started the integration of AI into your operations, from underwriting to the claims process to customer experience, or you're still watching how it will play out based on how the government in your country responds to it, or the governance in the insurance industry in Zambia respond to it? We would like to hear your view on that. Are you using it now? Do you plan to use it? What's holding you back?
We're not currently using any AI in any of our operations, basically because we have been kind of a laggard as an industry in implementing some of these next generation technologies, which are here with us now. We call them next generation, but they're supposed to be used now for the benefit of everybody in the value chain. As a business, I think we are at the stage of we've analyzed our needs. We know that this is where we need to go, and we have spoken to some partners that are willing to craft something to fit our shoe, in line with the regulation, in line with what the market can take, and all those intricacies that arise due to the use of AI. I think the key consideration around the use of AI is data privacy and integrity, which is a big thing that we will look at as we go towards the go date for implementation of AI technologies in our systems.
Oh, amazing. So that being said, Sizwe, how is Pineapple currently using AI in terms of the business side and also customer experience? How has it been tied into your product? And do you currently face any governance issue relating to data? Do you foresee any issue on that part?
Yeah. So I think in terms of how we're using it now, I think it's more just obviously on the research phase, like kind of everyone else. I think in terms of policy, people are still trying to, kind of understand, because AI, it's something that has been around. It just hasn't been a very big thing up until now, with generative AI, ChatGPT, etc., etc. So a lot of people are kind of doing research around it. But if you look at even generative AI, obviously it has a lot of potential for evil, because bad things can definitely happen with it. And I think that the creators of these generative AI tools understand that, and therefore they themselves kind of, keep it on a leash and not really allow too much freedom for the use of these tools. it's still very kind of like regulated because they themselves are not aware of like the laws around it, and they don't also want that things to happen. I think with as it's gradually kind of loosened up and opened up, I think that's when you'll start to see a lot of regulation, etc., kind of put around it, and also it'll also help them, kind of scale it slowly to kind of control, kind of what are the types of things that people end up creating at the end of the day. So I think even from a financial services point of view, as we start to roll those things out, slowly but surely, we'll start to understand, what's the potential thereof around it. And I think a lot of us are just kind of in the research phase. I don't know if there are any, I think even if you look at the AI tools, I don't know if there are really any like enterprise solutions or kind of a way to really deploy like a large model, or let me say like a third party large model. Like for example, if a company had to use, ChatGPT to perform some sort of function, for them to roll that out at a mass scale, I think there are still some limitations, kind of on the platform of your generative AI platforms themselves, because they just want to make sure that this is done in a safe way. So I think a lot of us are still in the research phase, and we'll see kind of once it opens up, and you start seeing like large scale companies making use of this and offering products and services to their customers. We'll see how it looks like, and then I think that at that stage you'll start seeing the financial services slowly adapting to it. So I think, yeah, let's just give it some time, and yeah, we'll see what the industry says about it.
That's amazing. We'll still picking up from you, Sizwe. We'll still picking up from you. So, from your perspective, um, what are the emerging trends that you see in AI, especially for the auto insurance sector?
There's a lot of potential. Like so I think if you feed it the right data, then it could give you like something kind of relative. Obviously, if it's accurate enough, there are still potential for hallucinations, etc. But I think if it has enough knowledge, you could do quite a lot. You could, even see now, your generative AI tools have a lot of data analysis tools. So you could feed it things like that, and that could kind of give you a lot of insight into your insurance data, into your claims patterns, premium information, etc., etc. But even in addition to that, also like, you could, I can see in the future, potentially having like an agent that just kind of services you, and tells you kind of more about your policy information, etc. You could even have, like these image generation tools, or let me say image analysis tools, where you can feed it like images, and it can tell you like, okay, this, what model vehicle are we dealing with? Does it have damage, etc., etc. So it could help quite a lot with underwriting, etc. But once again, it needs to guarantee like a high success rate, because you really don't know how many hallucinations, etc., could kind of happen on that regard. So it's very yeah, it's like I still said, it's a very young industry, but I think in the future you'll start to see a lot of tools which kind of automate a lot of things, and I think that's kind of the ethical thing around AI, right? Where there could be a human being, just replace him with a robot. You quite that I can see that happening, as AI tools start to improve over time.
Yes. Thank you, Sizwe. So let's now move that same question to the health insurance space. I'm very, very, very particular about the health insurance space for one reason, because it's still projected that it is one of the insurance sector with the highest fraudulent cases each year. Like it's been so for many years. And with the hope that with AI, artificial intelligence, will be able to reduce these fraudulent cases, from the fraud, the waste, the abuse that comes with it. So my next question will go to Mercy on this. Um, just the way it says we had answered, in what ways do you perceive, and from your own perspective too, do you see how AI can revolutionize one, health claims processing, and also be able to curb health claims fraud before payment is done or before it is settled as an insurance company?
Okay, so with regards to claims processing, I see AI as the tool to shorten our claims processing time. Where when individuals go to hospital, whatever is happening there, once they click send, that information can then be processed with the right AI enabled algorithms to tell them whether that claim is payable or not, and it would be rejected at the client's floor without it flowing to the insurer. Only those that go through fraud detection, duplication, etc., can then now come to the insurer for payment. In so doing, AI would be very key in ensuring that fraud, wastage, or abuse are detected and stopped and do not impact the costings in terms of the final bill that goes to the insurer. It also it would also provide a platform for interface between the embedded exclusions and wishes of the insurer in terms of what they would like to provide as a benefit to the members. As they are interacting with the system, it would then give them the do's and don'ts just at the point of accessing. These would be embedded and would be communicated in a more effective and efficient manner than having someone on the other end of the call going through a 105 listing of exclusions and then strike out and say, look, this is not included, this is excluded. And also, it gives an advantage compared to manual assessing of maybe 14,000 claims in a month spread out across a team of, say, 30. A lot of things would be missed. But if it's the same standard being applied across so many claims, it cuts processing time and also enables the efficiencies to be able to detect fraud consistently and develop some trends that would feed into your data analytics for better pricing, for better decision making for the business. And then, in addition to that, you find that it would then create a better, you know, a better experience for the clients as they interact with the AI systems that have been deployed for their use. I don't know if there's something that I've left out.
Okay, so I don't think you left anything out. Sizwe, do you want to chip in something there?
No, I think she generally kind of added all the relevant points. Look, yeah, like it's still a very new topic, and there'll still be a lot of things that we'll have to find out, as time goes on. But yeah, I think Mercy, you kind of said it all.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mercy, thank you, Mercy. So, what for me? I think the biggest, apart from the very obvious benefit of AI, for me, it's how the customers would like to relate with AI. Because in this case, they have already, as it is right now, we all have very little control over our data. Like once you're online, you find out that your data is a lot of platforms probably access your data without your knowledge. Now, AI is coming, and it's probably going to be very interesting for the customers. We, the professionals, we that need those data to offer better services and products to our customers, might understand. But how do you think, Sizwe, how do you think you are the technology guru here? How do you think we can communicate this um, data issue, what we're going to be accessing with the customers, and ensure that we as a company are well disciplined enough to protect our customers' data while trying to offer them a better product using AI.
No, 100%. I think that customer question is a valid one. Um, you know, as we've established, there's not that much legislation around AI in general, and that we're starting to kind of develop that only right now, with the emergence of all these AI tools. And, as a customer, you definitely would chase the convenience, but then there's also that concern of, okay, where will my data be used? Is it going to be used by other parties? What's this AI platform going to do with my data, et cetera, et cetera? So it's a very valid concern. From a company's point of view, I think the communication thereof will obviously need to happen effectively while at it. It would need to be compliant as well with the laws that are applicable. And I think even right now, the financial services industry, just globally, not even just in Africa or specifically South Africa, I think just at a global level, is a highly regulated space. And you'd still need to kind of play towards that in with the use of these AI tools. And I think that can definitely go a long way in terms of keeping keeping a customer at peace of mind, with with their data, with it being sent over. I think no matter what you do, AI still doesn't allow you to do illegal things. You still need to kind of play by the law. So I think by and large, the communication thereof, because I know from a customer point of view, it's like AI is this new thing, but it doesn't mean that companies can like break the law all of a sudden. We'll still need to comply. So I think this is the stressing and the communication thereof could definitely go a long way in terms of giving users peace of mind whilst using these tools.
That's right. If I may just add to what Sizwe has said, the responsibility of protecting consumer data still lies in the insurer's hands. Therefore, even as they want to embark on this AI journey, they need to ensure that there are SLAs that guide the governance of the data with the partners that they are working with on the AI space, without which would create compromises in the data and would result in breach of legislation, as Sizwe has alluded to. So from the governance perspective, it needs to be handled very well with strong SLAs and contracts around that conform with the in-country legislation around data handling and storage, etc.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I like the fact that I think we need to just do some writing and just put it on the wall that it is our responsibility as the insurer, as the insurtech, as the technology guys to protect our customers' data. We don't have any excuse. It means if we're going to consume ChatGPT to offer our customers a better experience, it is our responsibility to ensure that ChatGPT conform to data protection policy,
Precisely.
governance, or whatever it is.
Precisely.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Now, Mercy, we know that with new technology, one of the advantage is the opportunity and its ability to drive down costs. Yeah, we've seen it happen all over the time. Once upon a time, your computer is like a warehouse. Then technology became better. Then it's something on your table. Then cost came down. More people can access it. Now, AI is here. From the commercialization part of AI and insurance, how do you see this driving out premium costs? Whether it's for auto insurance, health insurance, life insurance, how do you see this driving out costs? And Sizwe, I would also like to see how you think this will help us drive up the adoption in Africa, taking us from the misery -3% to 75% by the end of next year, or 50% if that miracle can happen. Mercy, from the commercialization side, how do you think this can help us to drive down costs of adoption, premium, and let's take it from there.
Okay. Arguably, system costs account for around 20-25% of major insurance business costs. And we see the AI-enabled technologies sitting at about half of that cost. So by moving away from the traditional systems as we know into AI-enabled platforms that are able to be shared, that is able to be a shared resource that can work for different needs of insurance companies, we see that just by virtue of that, the cost of systems for insurance companies can actually be halved or reduced significantly. And two, the opportunity around reduction of fraud, wastage, and abuse is in itself a major saving. Insurance companies around the world lose millions of dollars in fraud related claims that they pay out that they shouldn't have paid. So, with these AI enabled technologies, that would be a saving and it would impact the bottom line positively. Other than that, efficiencies, time is money. You
Mm-hmm.
find that what an activity that would take you a few minutes, if it were a manual process, it takes you longer. By the time you're getting enough information to be able to make a decision, the opportunity may have passed, or that claim may have been paid, which shouldn't have been paid. So it also helps to save a lot of time and provide insights that are needed for quick decision making to turn around businesses, insurance business around the world. Those are my immediate thoughts that come to mind.
Oh, all right. So, Siswe, your thoughts too, from the technology perspective of it.
Yeah, I know your question was also focused on like kind of I guess the adoption of these products throughout the continent. So obviously South Africa has a very different insurance climate and market, different from the rest of Africa. So I'm definitely no expert when it comes to the rest of the continent. I think you guys would know significantly more than myself. um, but I mean, if I have to just give like
No.
a very short opinion on that, I think AI would
Mm-hmm.
then need to be used to create uh, products which solve the problems in those markets. Um, so of which obviously I'm not as well privy of, being here in South Africa, but it would probably need to uh, solve solutions that are specifically of the context of of the issues that, or I guess the insurance related issues, coverage related issues that Africans go through within those specific regions and markets across Africa. And obviously, AI can do a lot in terms of, offering a very quick, efficient customer service, if we're speaking specifically on generative AI, but then also, it can probably perform a lot of functions as well that, perhaps maybe, institutions might be struggling to do at scale in these certain regions. And that's where AI can kind of be deployed and, then offer the service. Also, it can influence things like underwriting and the pricing of, certain products that kind of got there, which might be deemed a bit too expensive, for certain markets. So I think there's a great deal of opportunity over there that will require close collaboration with, kind of the law of the land, and kind of the creators of these AI tools. But I think the opportunity is great. I think, you guys did mention, kind of the insurance penetration throughout the market in Africa, the rest of Africa is quite low. So if you just had to kind of get that whole market under coverage, I think there's a lot of opportunity over there. And AI can help big time in terms of achieving that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, thank you. I can imagine how sometimes you will just sit in yesterday and when you see the record of insurance adoption for every other part of the continent, you wonder how or why. Yeah, so from the little that I know about pineapple, please correct me if I'm wrong. I feel they do a lot of one personalization, and two, they are, from what I read, like their insurance, the insurance whole package is built in a way to give back. to the policy holder. Yeah, so can you tell us, one, now from your perspective again, one, how do you think AI can better personalization for you as a insurance company and also give back more to your policy holders?
Yeah, look, I think it's obviously something that hasn't. I mean, it's something that we're still kind of um, discussing internally, in terms of the whole giving back. So it's definitely, that's kind of the values Pineapple was started on. Um, but perhaps maybe can't elaborate too much detail on that aspect. But it's definitely something that, I mean, definitely something that we are, kind of the company was kind of founded on. So, geez, a lot of potential for personalization. A lot of personalization opportunities, for us to personalization tools to kind of implement. I think with as time goes by, with the more data we collect, we can personalize things extremely like down to the T. I think currently, if you look at the story, I guess kind of how traditional insurance companies have been operating on business, just with the generic with a formula that kind of has been working to this day, and hopefully that's something we'll be able to influence a lot of your your underwriting data, etc. It's kind of based off everyone, so we'll underwrite you based off how many uh how old you are, and whether you're married and which area you live in, etc., etc. I think with AI you can kind of even go so far as to kind of personalize a lot of the underwriting even itself, so we can give you a price that's unique to you, based off our understanding of what we know about you and all the data we collect around you, or kind of your user data point. Basically, there's a lot of opportunity over there, in terms of what can be done. And I think even with all the information we understand of you as well, we can then use that to service you, in a much better way. When it comes to finding out more about the coverage, and yeah, basically your policy information, etc. There's so much potential that can happen over there. Of course, like I mentioned earlier on in the call, still at like kind of initial research phases. But I think, yeah, as time goes by, I think the power of AI tools and the more emergence of more advanced AI tools will come out. There will be so much we can do in terms of personalizing products and the like, for our customers.
Thank you very much, Sizwe. My top point going out from here is the fact that it's our responsibility to protect the consumers. AI is still quite early, so much opportunity for the insurance industry to explore using it. As a closing remark, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, as much as it can take. Please, I'll be starting with Mercy. I'll be starting with Mercy. What is what advice will you give to insurance professionals? No, let me give that to the insurtech guy because they are the one that tends to try to want to partner up with the insurance professionals and they meet a lot of others. I can tell you that for free because I'm in that space. So I want Cizwe to give that advice. For Mercy, what is your outlook on the future of the insurance industry with the growing influence of AI?
So there's a lot of capability that the insurance space can tap in with regards to artificial intelligence. I'll give maybe 3, 4 areas where I believe AI can have the greatest impact. The first one I think I've spoken to is claims processing end to end, from the client interface, how it comes into the insurance company and how those claims are paid, how many of those are valid and how many of those are invalid, and what are the reasons, and are we able to engage the service providers so that we reduce as much as possible those instances to zero. The other one is around risk management. AI has potential to impact our risk management frameworks in the sense that we amalgamate and aggregate a lot of data that sometimes we cannot use effectively if you are in a spreadsheet, for example. But if you feed it into an enabled algorithm that is through an artificial intelligence platform, it will give you key trends that will enable you price correctly and also be able to customize offers to the needs of the clients that are only possible to be identified through a robust and effective use of AI. The other area is customer experience. I believe there is a lot that can be done around AI in that space. For example, the automation of feedback, um, chatbot, virtual assistants, that in itself gives instant feedback to clients. So it's an area that we can explore as insurance companies and provide impact and results to our end users. The third and last one, part of the claims processing is fraud detection. For me, this is a big thing around many insurance companies. If you have a platform that is able to tell you there's a fraud that is likely to occur, according to the analytics, you're able to tell before it occurs, or when it occurs, you're alerted, and you can do something about it. It goes straight to impact your bottom line performance as a business. So those are the four key areas where I believe AI would be a game changer if implemented correctly, and the right algorithms are embedded in it to ensure it provides that right impact to insurance companies across the world.
Amazing, amazing, Mercy. So let's move to Sizwe now. The Sizwe, I want you to like, what advice would you give to the insurance professionals looking to navigate the evolving landscape of AI? I know they cannot do this alone. They have to. There's no way they have to partner up with the insurtechs. So what advice will you give to these guys?
Okay, look, I'll just preface this with saying, like, listen, in no way, because I do get kind of reluctant to give advice. I'm not in no way made or successful, or and like a absolute expert at the field. I'm just the rest of us kind of trying to navigate. So I just need to make sure that I get that out there. Um, all I can speak on is just my own journey across this, and I'm happy to speak on that. But as I'm going, I'm still learning. We're still learning as a company. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to stay curious. You want to find out a lot of kind of what you want to find out the max potential of AI. You want to be on the leading edge of it. As kind of it's going, as new things are kind of being released, you want to find out what's out there, how you can use it. In your own specific business use case. You want to find out what the potentials thereof are around there, but you want to make sure as well that you are sticking within the guidelines of compliance and the law, basically, and making sure that anything that you do embark on, make sure that it's still compliant. It's within what's the law of the land, everything that's kind of specified in terms of the regulation. Make sure that it's kind of in there. But obviously still be curious. Try and find out how you can innovate, with these limitations, these barriers that you're kind of in, and just try and find ways to just try and make it work out. And sometimes, obviously, I mean, I think it doesn't help us to think of legislation and regulation as an inhibitor. I know that's kind of the general sentiment for the most part, but I think it's very important, especially when it comes to thinking about the customer and their needs, their privacy needs, and their data requirements. So I think the regulation side, I think it's something that should be embraced, and not seen as like an inhibitor, as like an enemy, like the damn regulator. No, like we should be working with them, because I think they do put the people's interests at heart, and know that when you kind of do your research into creating your solutions, which kind of fit the regulation, etc., you're actually creating responsible AI solutions. And I think if you're going into it with that mindset, I think you're more you're setting yourself up much better for success, because what you're doing will inherently be at the user's um, benefit and for their protection, I guess, in terms of the data. So yeah, embrace regulation. Don't see it as an enemy. I think that it's there for a reason. to protect the consumer, and then just kind of use it and keep it in mind, with whatever you're doing, to try and create a very useful solution for the customers.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, guys. We have come to the end of this episode, webinar session. It's been an amazing time, I must tell you. And for me, I think the growth of the industry at large, wherever it is, where in SA where it is already good enough, it can still be better. More people can still be covered. More products can still be thought out. Like if AI can drive down the costs of premiums, whatever it takes, insurance companies or insurtechs will be able to sit down and put more money into research and development. So it's a win-win for everybody involved in driving the adoption of insurance in Africa. Thank you so much, Mercy. Thank you, Sizwe. I hope to have you guys on this call again someday. And thank you for coming back, Sizwe. Uh, and have a lovely day, everyone. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you so much,
Loving
Sam.
meeting you. Mercy. Take care, Samson.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Goodbye.
All right.